Good afternoon. Oh wow, this is live. It's nice to see you all. Right, I used to know how to do this. It's nice to see you all today. Thank you very much for coming. My name is Jeremy Winchester. I am the director of MCLA Arts and Culture, and it is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 2023 opening lecture for the Benedetti Teaching Artist-in-Residency. Thank you. The Benedetti Residency was created for the 21-22 school year, and the idea is to search the country and find an artist of note who is interested in coming to MCLA for a prolonged period of time, teaching with us, getting to know our students, and also engaging in the creation of a substantial work of art. This year's Benedetti Fellow is WANG Chen. Chen incorporates drawing, animation, sculpture, costume performance, fabrication, sound engineering, and 3D game design to create highly saturated fictional immersive dreamscapes within video installation. Born in 1991, he received a BFA in painting and printmaking from Virginia Commonwealth University and an MFA in photography from the Rochester Institute of Technology, and has exhibited nationally and internationally. Chen will be with us for the rest of the school year, is teaching an Intro to Design class right now, and when their work is complete at the end of the school year, it will be on exhibit in Gallery 51 downtown in the first half of the summer. With that, it is my great pleasure to welcome WANG Chen.
Hello, everyone. The sound is good? Or what about here? Okay, so my name is WANG Chen. Thank you, Jeremy. I'm an interdisciplinary artist that incorporates digital video performance, 3D game design, sound design, sculpture, drawing, and costume. By layering these different mediums into a video installation, I use satire, fiction, and exaggerations to construct ever-evolving moving images that question the possibility of the future. So today I will talk briefly about several of my projects, and I'm starting from these works that I did when I was a undergrad, because this is the only way I know how to explain my practice, explain how to begin and how it has been evolving into my current practice. So I gained my BFA in painting from Virginia Commonwealth University and my master in photography from RIT. So when I was in painting, I had this huge interest into performance art. So performance became the main practice for me during the time because I came close to being no longer myself. For me, it was such a relief. Through performance, I would use different forms and characters to explore my identity, ideas, and stories. So in undergrad, even though I was in painting, but I was not doing too much paintings, I was really into live performances. And then when I moved to, this is a thesis from my grad school. So when I moved to grad school, it was kind of different, jumping from painting actually to photography. So I was a little frustrated, but then I was also same time fully influenced by the whole department that to understand, to utilize the tools, the mediums to help me have voice of creating what I want when I was in grad school. And also most importantly, to understand the possibilities of the image. So in school, I self-taught some video programs like After Effects and Premiere. It was like opening a new world to me that I could manipulate or create a world where finally my performance and characters could be settled in. So this work is a 4-channel video installation piece called The Rabbit Hole, which combines drawing, performance, animation, and sculpture to create a fictional space that talks about gender identity and sexuality. The title, Rabbit Hole, referenced Lewis Carroll's novel Alice in Wonderland, which was originally published in 1865. In this work, I present an opportunity for the viewer to experience a disorientating fictional space in which the physical body floats across boundaries, Biomorphic forms entangle and pulsate, creating an arena where gender is ever evolving and celebrating freedom of sexuality. My work is always full of fantasy and absurdity. Something real or unreal is an escape from the reality, blurring my own memories, group memories, and a subconsciousness within reality. So time is no longer in a linear direction, but abstract. The future is the present, and the present is the future. Same in Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. The white rabbit and the rabbit hole symbolize the curiosity that sparks Alice's spiritual awakening. The rabbit hole signifies the locus, the environment, and the cause of Alice's transformation. So in the installation, the audience is welcome to sit or lay down on the pillow. That evokes a collective experience within the audience, offering different possibilities of behavior and positioning within the space. So there is also a white fur wall in front of the installation. In order to get into the space, the audience needs to bend down to clear the opening, inviting the audience into a participatory relation within the installation. The processing of making this work is a direct metaphor for the content of the work. I've always considered my video work as a moving painting. I changed the shapes or marks in the drawing and kept looking at the composition or at the ways of breaking the composition. All of this allows me to discover a place by pulling layers around. Building one layer connects with another that connects ever-changing physical body form. So here's the documentation of the final thesis. The overall timeline of this piece is 15 minutes. So this is a clip. So this work was the first time I started to create a costume character. So when the project was finished, I remember I was not satisfied with the costume I created because I really want my own characters. Part of it is that was my first time to learn how to sew, and then I had a hard time, so I kind of like bought this on Amazon and then redecorate the whole costume later. So after this project, the first thing I wanted to make my own costumes. And second is I was also wandering around if there's a ways of creating a strong sense of space, but by only use digital work, not only like other than creating a physical space. So I started to practice with clay and thinking about what if I built a physical space and translate into the virtual world. And then after I made this, I kind of did like a sketch of that physical clay scene. And then later I kind of started to thinking about how do I combine them to create another scene. So I did this. So which created this kind of real, unreal imagery that distorts the reality. And also at the same time, I start to push to the costumes. So I start to make my own costumes. And for this particular project, I made 5 costumes that reacted with the scene I created. So also thinking about object and character becoming part of the scene too. So after aiding the costume performance into the scene, I became a physical component of the worlds that I created, become multiple. These clones represent various unstable grouped identities, undefined genders, cartoonish humanoids, and ghost-like apparitions. I can adopt multiple identities thus. Abstracting my own role as the architect to become many things at once. In this work, life is wrapped and disjointed through my eyes. The juxtaposing of dark and fantastical scenes is there to serve as a playful response to societal norms, constructing and escaping my vision of imbalanced power in my world. And then this work is kind of funny because I had a weird relationship with this work after move on from a utopia process. So by looking back to the early practice, I found that all my previous work always had play as an important role, serve as or reference or shape the next project. It's always about one thing leads to another. So this work, after I finished, I never showed, I never published online because I was not sure about the work. I spent almost like a year to figure out how to use 3D modeling to create a 3D work. So this piece is a VR piece. And after I create the work, I feel like I was too much in thinking about create this immersive experience for the audience, to have audience to be part of my work, but not thinking about I came from painting background. So the work for me was like too much about technology, but less about my own practice. But I learned a lot through this practice. So I'm gonna show you guys the work. So as you see, I was not convinced by the project at all. I was feeling that it was missing the quality of drawing, And then I gave up this work, and I go back with drawing. I was like, I need to practice more what I love to do. So I go back and make more drawings, which these drawings become like important elements to my next project, which is also the sim park, I would say, but more like a polished sim park. And within the work, I made more costumes. So this work also have 5 costumes, but each costumes are like way better for me as the previous practice. So this is the scene behind. So I shoot in front of this green screen and then cut out the characters and performance and put them back to the scene. So for me, it's really important that my practice keeps me solving problems. Not only the actual my physical work, but also to know better about my inner space. Every time I got really excited about seeing the problems and see where is my limitation and how can I push it. So I came to Roswell, New Mexico in 2020 because there's one residency called Roswell Artist-in-Residence. So I was there. It starts from July. It's a year-long residency. It was a special time during that period. Before I was in New Mexico, I was in New York City. So that was pandemic. There was lots of anxieties and concerns during the year 2020. Not only the pandemic, but also about my visa. I'm an international here, and with all the policies that's being put out against immigrations, as well as being a Chinese, being an Asian, at that time, I didn't really know where's the future, where I belonged, or where I'm going to be like in the next year. I felt like I was just stuck in my apartment in New York City, and all I can do is just making drawings. And so that time I was really appreciative. I could go to Roswell to get out of my apartment. So while making these drawings, it got my attention that some of the drawings were like bizarre to me, that those undefined creatures from other spaces are like screaming, hiding, or celebrating. I can see myself become one of these dotted aliens. That dots create constellations that I'm one of the points to the whole system, and it's me, and also same time I feel it's everyone. So I thought that would be a really interesting project to do it when I was in Roswell, New Mexico, because the whole city in Roswell, it's about this aliens or festivals and UFO. So after I came to Roswell, I started to make more drawings, to thinking about what kind of scene I want to create, what kind of characters I was pushing. So I kind of made all those drawings. So and then next one is how usually when I create my work is I'll make drawings. So drawings will be my inspirations. I'll make a scene to think about what the scene gonna look like, the environment, and then I'll take those elements out of the drawing and then repaint them again and rescanning them again back to the digital computer. So all the layers down here, those are the drawings I scanned from the actual bigger drawing and construct them into the scene, make them into a 3D version, but flat, like my drawing, but in the scene. So for this project, I also start to make stop motion animation. So I drew all the frames of the characters and translate into the animations and then put into the video space. By doing the stop motion animation, because there are like looping gestures, for me it was kind of feeling, I make all the frames and I know the results. And it's becoming the looping itself, it distorts the time for me. And for me, I feel like I have the controlling for the characters, but also I feel like I'm part of the characters and the time is no longer in the linear, but it's really abstract for those characters. And then here's the clip of the final video. So it's also a coincidence that the final exhibition was held during the Roswell UFO Festival. So the piece creates its own pitch to the rest of the festival, and it interrogates the drama and the terror of civilizations bumping together. Through the festival, it's interesting to see how space aliens are often portrayed as an unknown curiosity or excitement, while human foreigners are portrayed or present as a fearful destroyers or competators. And then another important element I was like to point it out is like also that was my first time to fire clay as a sculptor during the residency in Roswell. The main reason is I want to bring out elements that are not physical. So for me, making that video, making drawings, translate drawing into digital, making costumes, making performance, everything is purely transfer from physical to digital. So I was also thinking is a way I can pull stuff into the physical space to create this whole installation that distorted the space. So I chose clay. So the material has an old history with the weight and is involving with the physical actions of making and touching. And then it creates an obvious contrast within the digital work and to assist me to completing the whole installation in the disoriented space. So the digital medium has enabled us all to achieve our hopes and dreams without restriction of physical space, which in turn has been endless work that pushes the boundaries of digital life to create a great extent. But my use of mixed media, it activates more of sense to me while creating the work, which continue to build upon as a scene in my upcoming work at a 9 months long residency at MCLA. So here's more details of the ceramic. And last, I want to thank you for everyone coming over to listen to me talking, and then also thank you for MCLA having this wonderful opportunity for me to have a space and time to finish my residency here, and glad to see all the students, and then I'll be here for 9 months, and you've seen what I can do. If you have any projects you're thinking or I can help you, just touch with me. I'd like to help you also finish your project too. All right, thank you.